Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV. We're in New York City for another dispatch video. We're at Pepcom's Holiday Spectacular. It is only September, but you have to start thinking about what you're going to offer people for the holidays if you are a consumer electronics company. And there's a bunch of companies behind me that we're going to go check out. So let's head in and see what kind of cool stuff we can find. So this is a neat little camera called the Vuze XR. Now we've looked at 360-degree cameras on the channel before. We've also looked at 3D 180 cameras for VR. This one does both. If you hit the little button here, it flips out and starts doing 3D imagery 180 degrees that you can use with a VR headset. Or, of course, you can flip it into 360 mode and get that option as well. It's kind of nice to have that, both shooting options, essentially, in one package here. So I thought that was kind of a neat and unique thing. This costs $439, so it's something you might want to check out if you want to have kind of the best of both worlds of 360 and 180 3D VR. So Nvidia is showing off some of their new laptops. I did ask about the Nvidia Shield TV. No new news on that yet, but we will report on it when it comes here. But their laptops, though, are really neat. And these laptops are by all the major manufacturers. We have Dell, Lenovo, Razer, Acer, and others represented here. And one of the things that Nvidia is doing, first of all, is getting their RTX cards now onto these laptops. You can get in the door at about $1,400 to $1,500 with a 2060. We've got a nice little demo of the game Control showing some of the really neat new ray tracing and lighting features that chipset provides. But they're also now focusing on creative professionals as well. So the last three laptops on the table here are showing things like Photoshop and Premiere running, because they've now kind of bifurcated their driver into a professional driver that optimizes video and photo editing and the gaming driver. The cool thing is that in the Nvidia GeForce experience, you can switch between the two on the fly. So if you want stability and optimization for video editing, switch it over into that mode. When you want to go and play a game, you can switch into the gaming mode, and you can kind of get the best of both worlds. So this is called the Remarkable, and it is an e-ink notepad. What I like about it is that it's very simple. It takes notes. You can read some documents on it, but there's no email, there's no distractions. It's a really simple note-taking tool. Very low latency on it. It was actually very good for an e-ink display. What's also nice about it is that the display itself is kind of rough. So when you're writing on it with the pen, it kind of feels like a pencil might on a piece of paper. It's just got a really nice feel to it that kind of gives you this digital experience in something that feels a lot like paper. They've done a nice job with this. Also on the back here, they have two rubber feet to keep it from sliding around on a desk and whatnot. Really cool device. We'll have to try to get one in. $499 for this one. So about what you would pay for a tablet, but you have something that won't distract you and is really designed for mostly taking notes and reading documents. So we were walking by the TCL table, and they've got some new QLED televisions. This is a 65-inch QLED. Really nice contrast ratio here from what I'm seeing. Supports Dolby Vision, so you get Atmos sound. You get everything that you would get on a higher-end television with a really nice picture here. But it looks like they're selling the 65-inch here for an $899 MSRP. And that includes a built-in Roku driving it. So you get Roku built in, you get a really nice image out of this thing. I was really impressed with this for the price point. There's also going to be a 55-inch, which I believe they're selling at $599. So you get all the latest HDR stuff, a really nice image here for a pretty low price. And one thing I wasn't aware of that they informed me of here at the table is that although you see Samsung really pushing QLED, TCL says they actually came out with it first, and it really does look quite nice. We'll try to get one in. So TCL is also manufacturing phones. Many times it's under somebody else's brand, but now they're making their own phone. This is called the Plex, and yes, it shares the name of the media serving software that sponsors our channel from time to time, but there's no affiliation with them. It's a mid-range phone. It's going to be released in Europe, selling for about 329 euros, so that's probably in the 380 to 399 price point here in the US. It's got a 48 megapixel camera, 3 different lenses to choose from with the wide angle. It's got a lot of the features that we've come to expect on mid to high-end smartphones, but it's reasonably priced and it looks pretty cool. So if this does reach the US, we'll try to get in a review unit to check it out. Now TCL is also manufacturing phones for Alcatel, and this is a flip phone. that is a little smarter than other flip phones you may have used. We were playing around with it a little bit earlier. It's got YouTube on it, so you can watch me. It's got Google Maps, Google Assistant. It's not running Android. It's got its own little operating system. Now, depending on the carrier that you go with, these will cost about $50 or $60. And on T-Mobile, it'll also act as a mobile hotspot as well. So if you are still in the flip phone era, you can get more functionality out of a very thin little phone here that has some, but not all of the smart features you might have on a more expensive phone. So everything is getting smart these days, so how about your metal detector? This is the GoFind 66, costs about $249, and it's a metal detector, but it will connect up with a smartphone. So as you are going around and it's detecting things, it is plotting them on a map on an app. So it's a way to kind of involve the whole family. You can have one kid out looking for stuff, the other one with the phone digging up the things that they're finding. It does have some variability, so you can have it look for things that might be more valuable versus perhaps a can in the ground or something like that. They have a lower end one for about $100 that doesn't connect up with a smartphone. And then they've got a higher end one, about $899, I believe, that has multiple frequencies and can detect a lot more. So they got a full line of stuff, but I do think it's kind of cool to be able to plot your detections on a map, and you can go back later and dig them up. So this is something you might want to take a look at if you own a home or rent one maybe. This is the Phyn Smartwater Assistant, and what it consists of are two sensors that go on your cold and hot water. They communicate with a Wi-Fi module here, and what it's doing is it's looking at your water pressure to determine whether or not you are having a pipe freeze issue or some other pressure issue. It's also able to detect usage. Costs about $299, and what I was most intrigued with is that you only need one set installed because most homes are in a closed loop. So you just put these in the bathroom somewhere, but it can detect usage throughout the entire house. And this is going on sale very shortly at Best Buy, again, for about $299. So this is a neat little tracking device that might be useful if you have kids. This is called the Moxee. Costs about $120, and then you have to get service with T-Mobile, depending on how you configure it, about $15 or $20 a month. Now, it works like many other trackers do. You put it in their backpack, and you can keep an eye on where they are physically. It'll automatically poll every hour or so, or you can go ahead and request a location of it. But there's a button on here, and if you push the button once, it'll check the person into where they're going. 2 clicks will send audio to people that you designate, kind of like a phone call. And if you do it 3 times, they've got a call center that's monitoring. So if you find yourself in a dangerous situation, you can kind of use it as a panic button. You push the button 3 times, it will pick up whatever audio is there. If their call center determines that you're in trouble, they'll call the police and they'll come out and find you. So it's a little easier than taking your phone out. You'd have it in your pocket and just kind of hit the button on it. And given that my daughter's school bus is always arriving at different times, this might be kind of useful to see exactly where she's at so I know when to come and pick her up from the bus stop. So pretty cool stuff. I think this is coming out on Monday. It'll be at T-Mobile exclusively through the holidays. So iRobot is here, and they, of course, are known for their mops and their vacuum cleaners, but they're getting into STEM now for kids. This is called the Root, and what it kind of reminds me of is something I used to use on the Apple computer called Logo, where you had a little turtle that you would control on screen and draw stuff. This is more advanced than that, of course, because you can use an iPad and control it kind of like a remote control, but you can also code it to do things. So one of the things they did a little bit earlier here was code it to make this star, and you can use like a Scratch-like language to control the device here, and it levels up with the kid as they go along. Pretty cool thing. It's going to cost about $199. So kind of a good price, I think, for a STEM toy. And it's also magnetic, so you can have it go vertically like it is right here. Now, they're also doing a little bit more with their vacuums, because one of the issues you have with a vacuum is emptying it. And now they have 2 new models here. This one costs about $1,000. This one about $1,400. And what they have inside of them are little vacuums that sucks everything out of the vacuum cleaner and puts it in, let me get the camera over here for a second, into this bag like you've seen on other vacuum cleaners. So you can have the vacuum park itself, and then it will clean itself out, and then you only have to change out this bag every once in a while, which can be, I think, a lot easier than dealing with the little container that it has inside of it. They've also said they added some smarter features to it so you could have it go clean a specific room. So if my dog was hanging out in the living room, I could have it go to the living room just by using a voice assistant command. They support Amazon's Echo and the Google Home. So we are strolling by the Lacie table, and they've got a new door lock here that some of you might find of interest because there's a lot of different ways to get into it. So you have your traditional key here, so you can put the key in and turn it like the old-fashioned way. But there's also a fingerprint reader here on the side, so you can program, they tell me, up to 99 fingerprints into it. Or you can assign key codes to people so they can type in a key code to unlock the lock. Or you can use the Amazon A Word or Google Home. So there's a lot of different ways to get into this lock. Now the price on this one is $329 for the Wi-Fi version. Again, it supports the Amazon A Word and Google Home, and they tell me that Apple HomeKit support is coming soon as well. So this is Artie, and this is another robot that will draw for you with code, and you can see what he looks like here. So what you do is you put a pen in his head, and the pen comes out his bottom here. But what's neat is that you can programmatically control him with, I believe, 7 different programming languages. So it starts off with some of the easy stuff like Scratch and some of the things that the kids are using, but then it can go into Python and Java as well. So as the kid gets older, you can start using more advanced programming languages with it to have him move around and draw on paper. The price on this one is very affordable. It's about $70, which I think is pretty approachable for a lot of folks. And of course, you can control it with your iPad. So we stopped by the Lacie table, and they've got an interesting solid-state drive. This is a Thunderbolt 3 drive, but what's unique about it is that it also works with USB-C. What we've seen before with a lot of these that we've looked at, if you bought a Thunderbolt drive, it's Thunderbolt 3 or bust. You can't use it on anything else. This one will actually go back to USB-C if you plug it into a computer not equipped with a Thunderbolt port. That's kind of cool. Not cheap, though, about $399 to start at 1 terabyte, but you'll get that Thunderbolt speed and the USB-C compatibility. If all you want is USB-C, Jake will follow me in here. They've got a USB-C version that costs about $179 or so to start at 500 gigabytes, which will perform quite well. Both of these are waterproof, which is why this one is wet, so they can survive underwater for a little bit of time. So if you're out in the field doing pictures or video and you happen to drop it in the stream, you can see it because it's orange. And when you pull it out, dry it off, it'll still work. And they've been known for making these really rugged drives in the past. So pretty cool stuff. Good to see some cross-compatibility here between Thunderbolt and USB-C. Then, of course, in the next year or two, we'll have USB-C 4.0, which should hopefully bridge the gap for everybody else. Stay tuned. Now, you've probably seen these dog fences you can set up where you put a wire in your backyard, and then if the dog crosses over, you get shocked. Well, this is one that's a little bit more portable. It's called Spot On, and it's rather pricey, but I think there's a good reason for the price. So this goes around your dog's neck, of course, like a collar, and then you can control a geo-fenced area that the collar will enforce. You do have to do some training to get the dog to understand what's going to happen. They'll get a tone first, then, of course, the usual shock treatment to prevent them from going too far. But if they do happen to escape, like my dog might, it will switch into a tracking mode where you can get turn-by-turn directions to follow your dog as it's going on his or her journey around the neighborhood. You'll know exactly where they are. Uses LTE for that. Costs about $6.95 a month for that tracking service, and then if the dog does leave your geo-fenced area, it will go off. One advantage of this, I think, is that you can have all the benefits of one of those electric fences when you're not at home. So if you're doing camping or something where you're going to a different place, you can program the geofence around your temporary location, and it will work just like an electric fence would, but you can bring it with you. Pretty cool stuff. It's called the Spot On. So that's going to do it for our coverage here at Pepcom's Holiday Spectacular. This is one of my favorite shows of the year because we get to see a lot of stuff from a lot of different companies. So hopefully you all enjoyed what we found here. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Mike Talbert, Brian Parker, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/s.